Hey, good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. I honestly did forget for a moment, but I did know it was a free for all Friday. Maybe that's why I was confused because usually it's just, oh, it's name that player. Bo's lazy, didn't create a thumbnail, just using an old one. Name that player free for all Friday. But no, not today. We've got a topic on a Friday. Still the free for all. We'll still play name that player. I dug into the archives for a pack of cards, and we'll play name that player later this morning. And I want to talk about the NCAA transfer portal and the NIL, name, image, and likeness, and my thoughts on why those are good things. There's a lot of negative surrounding those two things, and it's ruining college athletics. College athletics was ruined a long time ago. It's not the transfer portal. It's not the NIL. So I'll share my thoughts on those two things. What else is going on? I finally got unburied. I was behind on some shipments. I haven't been behind on shipments in quite a while, where it's past my handling time. I mentioned this earlier this week. I was not prepared for the onslaught that would bring with my 50% off sale over Black Friday weekend. I had a feeling that it would be more than it would be a good sale, not more than I expected, but I had a feeling it would bring in a lot of sales. It did more than I expected. Not only that, I ran the sale on a weekend where it was obviously Thanksgiving, but also it was the Madison Card Show. Also, I took off at 3:00 to go down to an alumni social on Monday in a basketball game Monday night. So it was a whirlwind. It was crazy. And by Friday morning, the sale had just begun. I was starting to realize maybe I bit off more than I could chew. I got through it. A few late shipments. I'm sorry. I apologize. If you're waiting for yours, it just was. I was not. Usually, it's like, I can handle this. I can handle this. Like, oh, if I have 200 or 300 orders to ship, it's no big deal because, again, I've said this before, 80% of my orders, 1 to 3 cards. Not the case with this sale. 300, I think by the time Monday morning rolled around, I think I was at like 370, 360, somewhere around there, which it's not 1 to 3 card orders. It's 5 to 100 card orders. There were a couple 100 card orders in there. So, again, my apologies for running behind on shipping on that big sale. It was to the point the last few days, it's like I'm scrolling down. I'm like, I have to ship all of these still yet today. And then yesterday, I finally got through some back, and it's like, oh shit, these have to ship by tomorrow. Oh my God, it's never ending, which is a good thing. I shouldn't be complaining at all. Should not be complaining about sales. Thank you. Thank you, one. Thank you all. So, but it was overwhelming. So I'm glad I'm out of that. It's smooth sailing. I did have a chance to get some cards loaded into my eBay store yesterday. I did some Chrome NPB. This has been a hot seller. Fortunately, I pulled 3 of these so far. I still have 3 boxes I have not opened of 2022 Topps Chrome NPB. This is the third one I've pulled. I've already sold the first 2 for $30 a pop. $30. I mean, I paid what, $60 for the box. I've only pulled, which is really strange. I shouldn't pull 3 of these in 9 boxes. A base card of Yamamoto, I've only pulled 2 of, maybe 3. So I've pulled the same amount, but hey, I'm happy. It's a $30 card on that Sasaki. There is a Yamamoto in the set. I haven't pulled that yet. So, because I pulled 3 Sasakis, I guess. So I added some of those. I added some SI for kids. I've had a pile. Shout out to the Dollar Box Adam. I was listening to his live stream. He goes live on Wednesday nights, and he's like, yeah, I listed a bunch of SI for kids, and he's talking about SI for kids. I've had this stack. There's like 140 SI for kids cards. I've had that stack for several months. I just keep building the stack, and I'm like, I'm going to list these eventually, but it's a pain because, you know, a lot of them are probably like $2 cards. I listed all of them at $2.50 with the exception of a few. There's an early, like the first Mike Trout SI for Kids card, which was worth more than I expected. So there's some in there that were a surprise where, you know, 10, I think the Trout was the only one that was like more than $10. There might've been like a $20 card in there. I think the Kayla Harrison first card is is up there. So, so I've had those. Many of these, in fact, probably most of that pile came from one or two Goodwill pallets. I mean, they're just crawling in the Goodwill pallets. So I'm just like, oh, more SI for Kids. I'm just going to set these aside. And there's probably a whole bunch that I don't have in the stack that are just in other piles. I put some in quarter boxes. So I listed a whole bunch of those. Those are in my eBay store. Link in the description. Buy 7 or more cards at regular price, and you'll save 25% off at checkout. What else is going on? It's Friday. That's a good thing. I don't have anything going on this weekend, which is kind of nice because I had a lot of stuff going on last weekend, like I just complained about. But the thing is, and this is just how we are as personalities. We complain when things are crazy and overwhelming. And then all of a sudden this week's going to be like dead. Like I'm not going to have anything going on this weekend. And by Sunday, I'm just going to be, oh my God, I need something to do besides shipping and listing and shipping. But I have an exciting weekend next week. I'll be in Janesville, Wisconsin during the day, Saturday, December 9th, at the Janesville Card Show. I'll be set up. I think I'm going to take a bunch of bulk boxes and blow them out $40. These are closeout quarter boxes. I've sold a few at $50 a pop. I'm going to drop the price to $40, a little holiday special. So I'm going to bring about a dozen of those to Janesville next Saturday, a week from tomorrow, next Saturday. And then from Janesville, I'll be driving over to Lake in the Hills for the Club 400 Christmas party. We've got special guests, Mike Talkman, the Summer of Talkman, Cubs outfielder. He was the center fielder for the 2023 Cubs. He'll be at the Club 400 Christmas party next Saturday night, along with Cubs hitting coach John Maley. He is back on staff. He was retained under new manager Craig Counsell. John Maley, by the way, was the hitting coach in 2016 for the World Series champion Chicago Cubs. Spent some time with Joe Madden with the Los Angeles Angels. He came back last year, a member of the Cubs coaching staff at AAA Iowa, and then he was promoted to the big league club in right after the season ended. And then David Ross got fired. It's like, oh crap, is Mayles going to be moving on to another team? So we were keeping our fingers crossed. He's a great friend of Club 400, great dude. Love talking to John Maley. He'll be there next Saturday. And I think Brian McRae, remember Brian McRae from the 90s? The 90s Royals and the 90s Cubs? Brian McRae, son of Hal McRae, will also be in attendance, so I hear, next Saturday night. Club 400 Christmas party. Can't wait for that. So, and then December 16th, I'll be at the card show down in St. Charles, Illinois, at the Kane County Fairgrounds. So see me there if you're in the Chicago suburbs in 2 weeks. So it's going to be a busy month of December, which is good. And then we've got Christmas and then New Year's Eve, December 30th is the next Madison card show at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. So there we go. Let's go into the chat. What's going on, chat? We've got George in the house. What's happening, George? Good evening to you. He's over in Korea. David's in the house. Happy Friday. Raphael is here. What's going on? Bill Simus, good morning. What's going on? Kyle is here. Good morning and happy Friday to Victor. What's up? Steel Cards in the house. TGIF. Hey, maybe I'll watch some TGIF in the background today. Some Boy Meets World. I'm actually glad. I saw Dave Arnold's comment in here as well. Dave's got to get to school. He's probably still in his truck, driving to Bushnell. Where you at, Dave? Route 41? It's been 10 years. I'm forgetting the routes. 9 goes east-west, 41 goes north-south. Dave's probably cruising up Route 41 to Bushnell to BPC High School. Good morning, Steel Cards, TGIF. So maybe I'll watch some Boy Meets World today. I got Disney because I wanted to watch Disney Plus, or I got Disney Plus because I wanted to watch Boy Meets World. I haven't seen it in decades, and I love the podcast. But also, then I realized, oh, I want to watch this game, but it's on ESPN Plus. Oh, I already have Disney for like an extra $3 a month. Just throwing those Washingtons for an extra $3 a month. I can get ESPN Plus. I'm glad I did because now I can watch my Western Illinois Leathernecks. I'm wearing Wisconsin again, but the Leathernecks played Hannibal LaGrange. How about the Leathernecks? And that's why I see Dave Arnold over here. Western played at Illinois last Friday, at Wisconsin on Monday, and then last night they played Hannibal LaGrange. NAIA school. Western beat them by like 55 points. What I loved about last night's game, and I watched the entire game on ESPN Plus, was that it was like a 55-point game, and with a minute to play, both teams were still playing like it was a one-possession game. Nothing annoys me more than with like 10 minutes to go in the game, they're milking the clock. It's like, and I get basketball. Like, I understand college, it's a little different. NBA, like you're going at it. I get it, but it's like I want to watch this full game play out. Plus, I wanted to see the Leathernecks score 100 points. They fell what they scored 94, I think. It's like 94-40, I think was the final score. Dave says disappointing fact from last night's WIU game. Hannibal, yes, I wanted to touch on this. One of the players' names on Hannibal LaGrange had a player named Chris Cross that did not wear his jersey backwards, and he failed to make us jump. Dave with a comment of the day. Yeah, I heard that. Dwayne Hewlett, by the way, on the play-by-play on the ESPN broadcast. I heard him announce Chris Cross. I'm like, no way. I had to Google the Hannibal LaGrange basketball roster to confirm this player's name was actually Chris Cross. It was Chris Cross. But yeah, he did not wear his jersey backwards. Chris Cross. Love it, love it, love it. Michael, what's up? Good morning. Michael Renicky in the house. We've got Dan here where it's 32 degrees. Hey, it is. I think we're at the same temp, man. My computer says 31, but I don't always trust my computer. What's my weather app? I shouldn't trust my weather app either. My location, you're warmer in Korea. It's 30 degrees Fahrenheit here in Madison, Wisconsin. Looks like we've got a 50% chance of snow today. Our high is only 35. Brrr. Sorry, Biscuit, you're not getting a walk today. 35 degrees. That's the 40-degree rule with me. If it's above 40, Biscuit gets a walk. If it's below 40, sorry. But I love this new neighborhood because I can there's Rookie. The neighbor dog Rookie is out. Rookie's a great dog, loves to jump. Rookie just hanging out. I love this neighborhood because it's a little, our property is a little wider. So, and I have a front yard. Like the old neighborhood didn't really have a front yard, and we never took Biscuit out the front because we had a patio, and I could shovel the patio and shovel like a patch in the grass. I still haven't decided how I'm going to handle snow with Biscuit because we don't have like an easily accessible place for Biscuit to potty because she has to potty on like grass, not snow. She may have to get used to it because I have a patio down here, but it's a lot deeper, and then there's steps, so it's just not conducive to letting Biscuit out like if it's snowy. Off the deck, long stairs to the backyard. Side deck is kind of what we had planned when we first started building. Like, okay, we can put her out, we can go out and we can shovel, which that might be the easiest option. And then the front, we take her out the front most. So I never took Biscuit out the front at the old house because we had, an easy backyard for her. But also the front yard, they were much narrower, closer together, the houses, and the houses were closer to the front. So it wasn't like, you know how I am with neighbors. Like sometimes I didn't want to talk to Frank. I wonder how Frank's doing. Sometimes it's like, oh, I don't want to talk to Frank today. I talked to Frank yesterday. I'm good. We can go a couple days. So if neighbors were outside, it's like, and it's so close to the sidewalk, it's like, you feel obligated to say hello. Here, the houses are set back. There's trees. It's an established neighborhood. The old neighborhood was like, we just put a bunch of, it was very cookie cutter neighborhood, a new development, cookie cutter, no trees. This has tree lined streets. Houses are set back. I don't have to talk to the neighbors. It's beautiful. So I love that. And they're very festive around here. A lot of Christmas lights. We did do, my wife will put a Christmas wreath up. We'll put a wreath up, and the notorious NIL brought over some like Christmas looking evergreen stuff that we put in the planters. So semi-festive, no Christmas lights here, but neighbors make up for it. There's some Griswolds in this neighborhood, man. About 2 blocks down the street, it's Clark Griswold Central. Tracy's in the house. What's up? Good morning. Dan's in here. What's up, Dan? Good morning. Happy new auction refresh day on eBay. There you go. December 1st. I can't believe it's December 1st already. I guess I can, because I've been watching Hallmark Christmas movies for 6 weeks. So it's like, oh, it's only December 1st. Good morning, JW. I was wondering where you get your painter's tape at, or do you not use it? I do use it. I don't use very much painter's tape. Some people like wrap their freaking cards when they send them out to you like a mummy. I just, in fact, I like using card savers because every once in a while I'll get somebody say, hey, this slipped out, but it didn't. The weird thing is it's never been damaged. And I think it's because of that lip on the card saver. But I don't painter's tape the card saver. If I do use a top loader, I use a team bag. So I use painter's tape sparingly. The times that I do use painter's tape, and some of you that I know are in the chat that I shipped your cards out here in the last couple days, I apologize because I used some Scotch tape, but not on the top loaders. I had to use Scotch tape on the cardboard. So if you ordered like 30 cards, I would put those 30 cards, they're in penny sleeves, and then inside a team bag. And then the team bag would be sandwiched inside a couple pieces of cardboard. And then that's where I use the painter's tape. I ran out of painter's tape, and I'm like, it's just cardboard. I'm just taping cardboard. I'm not getting it on the top. I'm not getting it on any top loaders. So I feel I can use the Scotch tape. Boom, put it on the cardboard. Where do I get the painter's tape when I do buy it? Walmart, Target. I'm sure you can even save a few pennies buying it on Amazon. It's probably cheaper. I use so little of it that I'll just buy a roll at Walmart or Target. It's not something that, I'm watching it's not like envelopes. It's not like penny sleeves. It's not like top loaders where I'm looking for like the cheapest deal because I use so much of it. I use so little tape that it's kind of like, when you're doing volume, you're paying attention to some of these things, where if you're just doing this as a side hustle and you're just doing a few shipments here and there, like you don't have to count your pennies on tape and envelopes and paper and all that stuff. But when you're doing it in bulk, the supplies that you do use, you do need to watch your pennies on. But so my painter's tape, I use so little of it. I'll just pick some up at Walmart. It gives me an excuse to look at the baseball card section. Royals 417. What's up? Matthew in the house. Jordan asks, any Wembies? No Wembies. Mostly there's a stack of like 1989 SI for kids. No Tony Hawks, no Mia Hamm's, no Tiger Woods rookies. Some 2000, a lot of it was 2000, like 2000. It was weird. It was only like 4 or 5 years, like 2008, 2009, 2010, and I think like 04, 05, and then like that small stack of 89s. So no Wembies. Card Hobbyist, what's up? Good morning. Collector's Dream in the house. What's up? Good morning. Johnny Boy Cards is here. Happy Friday. I do look forward to the weekends, even though I say you don't look forward to Fridays. There is a little difference. I don't look at Fridays like I did when I was working a 9 to 5, working in the office. Same with Mondays, but I certainly I almost appreciate Mondays more than Fridays working for myself because what happens is it's the week, especially if I don't have anything going on the weekend. It's like, oh my God, I can't wait to get back to a routine. Even though I can do a routine on Saturday, Sunday, it's just not the same. But I do look forward to Fridays, and I do look forward to Mondays. Value Box Digger. I just read Dave Arnold just texted me. Dave, I just read your text and laughed. Value Box Digger. I have observed that anyone that has an online business should plan nothing but shipping for the week following Thanksgiving. The LCS loaded the mailman's truck literally plump full. Love it. Yeah. Even if you didn't run any sales, it's typically, I've usually had really big sales on Thanksgiving Day, even in the past where this was just kind of a side hustle. I always had a big Thanksgiving. And that's what I like. People are so surprised when I say, yeah, I run the Madison Card Show. I want to run the Madison Card Show the Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend. Well, why would you do that? It's a holiday weekend. Because people are out and spending money. That's why. Take advantage. When people want to spend their money, let them spend it with you. Hell yeah. Capitalism, baby. Zach and Porter in the house. What's up? Good morning. Sports card ripping teacher. It will be easier for you to get 1 million Cubs with Ohtani coming. Just think of all the extra inserts. My only reason is that I pulled an Ohtani auto yesterday for the Ohtani Days of Christmas. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Getting closer and closer to that milestone, 1 million Cubs cards. I do need all week long, because I've got some boxes that I've received in the mail. Oh, speaking of mail, Running Buck Woodcraft, I've got to send you a thank you. I don't know if he's in the chat with us, but there's a box right there. That's from Running Buck Woodcraft. I'll show that off here in a moment. But I haven't I haven't counted some boxes that I've received in the mail here recently, so I need to get that added, get that count moved. Matty Ice, what's up? SCRT, I like it. I don't know what that means. SCRT. Oh, sports card ripping teacher. Now I got it. Good morning, Matty Ice. Red Light 34 is in the house. What's up? I'm considering it happening until it doesn't. Absolutely. Ohtani to the Cubs. Don't believe anything you read on the internet regarding Ohtani, because I don't think anything is legit. I don't think there's anything truly legit. I think all parties, because the teams are not going to let anything leak because they don't want to ruin their chances of landing Shohei Ohtani. And Ohtani certainly doesn't want to leak anything and anybody from his camp. So do not believe a single thing you read about Ohtani and which team he's going to land, because somebody could say, oh, the Blue Jays are the front runner, and all of a sudden he goes with the Cubs or the Dodgers and he lands with the Blue Jays, etc. So I'm with the sports card ripping teacher. I'm considering it happening until it doesn't. Until he's signed on the dotted line, I'm holding out hope. Ohtani to Wrigley. Sports card ripping teacher, Cubs center fielder. Matty Ice is as well. Ryan Sells, what's up? Good morning. Dan Talkman played in Korea in 2022 and played well. Played in all 144 regular season games. Yes, he's a Palatine native, which I think is one of the main reasons he'll be coming to Club 400 next weekend, because he's a local guy. I think he lives there in the off season, so back at home, or in his hometown. Value Box Digger, December 16th, just picked up 3 NFL games that will be great, except for the 3 Minnesota card shows going on that day when the Vikings now play at 1 p.m. December 16th, yeah. You know, and there's and I know the Green Bay card show is on December 16th. I'll be going St. Charles. See, fortunately, St. Charles, and this was a decision that I had to make. Do I want to set up in Green? Because I do want to set up at a December 16th card show to capture that pre-Christmas money. So my buddy Matt, Matt Lambrick runs the Green Bay card show, and I haven't set up there in a year, over a year, I think. So it's like, oh, I'll do that. But then a lot of the dealers and customers in Green Bay are similar to what I get in Madison. So I'll see a lot of the same faces in Green Bay as I would in Madison. Sure, there's going to be some new faces that I wouldn't normally see, but St. Charles, there's a lot. Yes, St. Charles, there's going to be some crossover that I see in Rockford and Janesville and Madison as well. But I saw a lot more new faces when I set up in St. Charles a couple months ago, and I absolutely killed it at that show. So I'm going to be in St. Charles on December 16th. I think it's going to be a popular day for card shows across the country because it's really that last weekend before Christmas. You don't want to hold a show on December 23rd because it's the weekend. There's a lot of Christmas parties and activities going on that can negatively affect the show. Whereas December 16th, hey, this is like the last weekend before the Christmas celebrations. Let's go out, get those last minute Christmas gifts, etc. I don't think it's going to be as a busy weekend as a Thanksgiving weekend as far as people out shopping and spending money. But I still think that it's going to be a decent turnout for various card shows. Red Light 34 says Chasing Cardboard was awesome yesterday. That took place just down the road. Oh, so Red Light 34 and Hall of Fame Card Collector not far from each other. That's pretty cool. Value Box Digger, did you see Pod Meets World is in Chicago? Yeah, I think they were actually in Milwaukee, I think fairly recently. Don't know why. I just saw a photo of them on Instagram last night. Probably because if you have me in the background, your phone's listening, and you hear me talking about Pod Meets World, and all of a sudden you're going to get pop-ups on your Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, they were. I think they're coming in Chicago, and they were in Milwaukee. I considered it, but it's like I don't know if I want to go to Milwaukee. Let's see. If they come to Madison, I'll go. You know who was in Madison the other night? What's up, Mark Marinello? He spells Chris. I know. Shit, I lost my train of thought. What did I say? Oh, you know who was in Madison the other night? Besides the Western Illinois Leathernecks? I could have double dipped, or not double dipped. It would have been back-to-back nights. Tuesday night. Bush, the band, not the president. Bush, the band. Gavin Rosdale, Glycerine, 16 Stone. Bush played the Sylvie on. Was it the Sylvie? I think they played the Sylvie Tuesday night. I saw that and I'm like, oh man, I got to go see Bush. And of course, I'm like, if Pearl Jam was in town, I'd go see him. Bush, Western Illinois Leathernecks are in town, I'll go see him. If Duke's in town, Duke's expensive. Duke came to town a few years ago. It's like freaking $300 for a nosebleed seat on the secondary market. Culper 78, what's up? Got a stack of cards of crazy names like Oil Can Boyd. Those collections are fun, like funny names like Rusty Kuntz, Oil Can Boyd. James in the house. There you go, James. I knew James was on it. Those 2022 Bowman Draft lights. He ripped 5 of them in 2023 archives. Was a fun rip. Highlights, Holiday, Ray Wave, and Refractor, and a Jordan Walker auto. Damn. That's pretty damn good. That's a pretty good for, let's see, $80 times $400. A Holiday Ray Wave's going to go for what? Raw is going to sell for at least 100. Refractor's 50, 60. I don't know what a Jordan Walker auto goes for, but hey, that's just on 2 cards and you're at 150 plus. That's a pretty nice return. Collector's Dream, another beautiful day in South Florida. Oh, don't remind me. 75 and sunny. It's cloudy and 30 here in Madison, Wisconsin. The pond is starting to freeze. Sports card ripping teacher says, thanks, like 50 days in Wisconsin, above 40 degrees. It's 10 where Value Box Digger's at. I walk every day, year-round, bundle up. I don't want to do that. It's only 32 for Dan. It's 23 for George. Now, George, I think you're up north, right? Not all the way north. Not in Pyongyang. But I think George is in northern South Korea, correct? Am I right? Is Dan further south? Buy Biscuit a kid's swimming pool and put sod in it for the winter. That's actually a pretty good, and just put like a cover on it. That's actually a pretty good idea. Shane, what's up? Happy Friday. You know, we actually did when we moved into the last house we lived in. It was a new build, so we didn't have a yard, and we moved in November. So we actually went down. There's the Olsen 2 nursery was just down the road from our house, from our neighborhood, and so we went down and got sod and had, you know, how many square feet? 50 square feet, maybe 100 square feet of sod on the side of the patio just for Biscuit to go potty. Peter in the house. Happy Friday. Mr. Smith is here. Good morning. I've been posting lots, and they've been getting double the impressions as singles. Love it. I listed some lots last night. Listed a bunch of Aaron Judge. Let's see. I did 6 card lots of Aaron Judge for $5. Taking best offers. So I will reward quantity on those offers. And a bunch of Trouts. I listed a bunch of Judge and Trout last night, and then I think I got to Ohtani. I did 1 Ohtani lot last night. So the funny thing is, some of the singles you'll list, you'll get like immediate boom, immediate turnover. The lots, and I do smaller lots, usually 5 to 8 card lots, and it's kind of a slow drip. It's usually a couple days before I get a bite. Usually a couple days. I did get an offer on the first Aaron Judge lot I put up, but I countered, and I'm just going to hold off until it sells, because I think it'll sell at full price, or somebody's going to come in and send offers on multiples. Mr. Smith adds, those lots have eye-popping $1 to $5 inserts with base sprinkled in there. Nice. Mark has a German Shepherd that loves the snow. I just opened the back door and he rolls around and gets soaked. My staffy stops at the door and looks at me. Yep, that's Biscuit. Like, it's snowing. I'm not going outside. I'm not going out there. Biscuit hates the cold and snow. Biscuit will find the sunspots. So when the sun shines in, she will see the shadow and she knows that's a warm spot. So she's going to go lay in the sun. It could be 100 degrees outside. She wants to go outside, sit on her little cushion, and just soak in the sun. She's a summer dog. There's Running Buck Woodcraft. What's up? So, thank you for the mail day. This arrived, I don't know when. I checked my mail yesterday, so it could have come within the last week. But check this out. This is from Running Buck Woodcraft. Here's a longer one. Now, these are slab holders. Let's see. Do I have a slab handy? I'm sure I do. Let's see. Where's my slab? Slab. Is this one? Here's this. Cole Rotover. Look at that. How cool is that? It's a little slab holder. Full rotor. Can you see that? There you go. So thank you, Running Buck Woodcraft. Sent some of those. These will be a nice compliment to my couch, to my Cubs couch card holder. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Value Box Digger says the Cubs picked up a manager without making a peep. Exactly. There's no way they would make a peep if they were talking to Ohtani. Absolutely. 100%. Let's see. Mark says, I can confidently say no big name is coming to the Mets. I really think they'll move Alonso for the right price. There hasn't been much said about Pete Alonso. Like, there were trade rumors and then now nothing. Now it's the pitchers, Tyler Glass now and Shane Bieber. Those have been trade rumors, and of course, Juan Soto. Haven't heard much from the Pete Alonso trade rumors. Let's see. Minnesota has a card show going on the 23rd. It's actually going December 16th to the 24th at the mall in a hallway. They do it yearly. Huge deal. Dealers come from all over the country. Really? Just cracked my voice there. Really? Interesting. Brian's in the house. What's up? Did the Leathernecks hold off the lowly Hannibal LaGrange Trojans? They held them off 94-40. They held them off. There were no second half surges from Hannibal LaGrange and their star Chris Cross. Denny's in the house. Dairyland picker. Don't let the days go by. Glycerine. Rosdale is in the consideration for my Mount Rushmore. Oh, interesting. I'll have to listen to some Bush. So that's on my watch. Boy Meets World and Bush. Boy, it's a 90s. It's going to be a 90s day in my house today. Bush and Boy Meets World. Let's see. Dan says SIU plays Idaho in the second round of the college football playoffs. Moscow, Idaho. I've been there. You know, I've never been to Carbondale. Or have I? No. Oh, because, and I'm thinking I did football for 3 years. Why would I have not made the trip to SIU? One of the years reset, and for some reason I think we either SIU was a bye for us, or not a bye, they weren't on the schedule one year, and then I think the schedule reverted or reset, and it was a home game. So I think we played, when I was at Western, I think we played Southern twice of the 3 years, and both were home games. So, and I've never been to Carbondale. I don't think I've ever been to Carbondale. We played SIU-E in basketball one year, Edwardsville. Never Carbondale. And we didn't play, in my 3 years, we didn't play SIU, Carbondale. But I've been to Moscow, Idaho. We played them in basketball, and we actually had to play them because the Kibbe Dome, I think it's the Kibbe Dome where they play football and basketball. There was a football game that day. Might have been a playoff. Well, no, it was the end of November, which was recently. So, it might have been a playoff game because it was, I think it was the season opener one year. Was Idaho our season opener? I think so. We played Moscow, Idaho. Played University of Idaho, Moscow, Idaho. Typical college town. I remember walking through campus. That was about it. I didn't have much time there because we stayed in Lewiston, Idaho, which is just down the road. We stayed in Lewiston, Idaho. So when we played Idaho, we stay in Lewiston, Idaho. And I think there was a connection to one of our former staffers had taken, I think he was like a graduate assistant a couple years prior. And he was now the head coach at, I think, Lewis and Clark Junior College in Lewiston, Idaho. And I think that was so we practiced at Lewis and Clark. We didn't have one walkthrough. You always get one walkthrough at the actual gym you're playing in, or arena. But then when you do walkthroughs and practices and stuff, you find an offsite gym. So we stayed in Lewiston. So we go to this hotel in Lewiston, and this hotel, it's a nice hotel. I don't know, say it's a Marriott. So it's a Marriott. And so we go to check in, and we're all the entire, which college basketball is not, your travel party's 25 people. So, and we didn't carry a full 15 on our roster. So, 12 players, 2 radio guys, 5 coaches, and, some grad assistant managers and stuff. 25. We go into the Marriott, we go to check in, and they're like, "Oh, you're in the auxiliary wing or whatever." It's like, "Oh, okay, is that way?" "Oh, it's across the parking lot." So it's a nice hotel, but their auxiliary wing is across the parking lot, next to a True Value in one of those shopping centers. Cannot. This is the life of a low major Division I basketball program. So we have to walk across the parking lot and go in right next to the True Value in Lewiston, Idaho. And it looks like an old Sears that was converted into hotel rooms. So that was our experience in Lewiston, and then we went to Moscow. So that's my Moscow, Idaho experience. Just George, rivers on the way to work have started freezing over the last few days. Rivers have started freezing. Wow. So we have some motion in our ocean. We have some motion in our pond. So it was, it's not really, there's parts of it that, downstream, I guess, it's where it's more calm. It started to freeze, but up over here, it's still kind of, I don't know where the motion's coming from, but it's still, but I mean, it's been warm. We've had some like unseasonably warm days. Now it's been unseasonably cold the last few days. So now it's starting to get a little colder. And yes, I'm in northern South Korea, and Dan is in southern South Korea. There you go. Dan says it's 50 in Syracuse today. We melted all of our 6 inches of snow from 2 days. You have 6 inches of snow already? Holy cannoli. That's, I don't know. 6 inches of snow this time of year, I can handle that. 6 inches of snow in March, not having it. In November, December, I can take that. George says my slab holders are made by Fruit of the Loom. I don't even know what kind of underwear guy I am. I think I was a Fruit of the Loom. I was Fruit of the Loom like as a kid, but now I just get like, I do both boxers and briefs. This is way too much information. You don't need to know this, but I'm more of a boxers guy, but I have some briefs and I don't even know what kind they are. Should I look? I don't know. Value Box Digger says the mall show is promoted by a Wisconsin shop, I believe Hawk's Nest. Oh yeah, he actually reached out to me yesterday. They do shows in Eau Claire also. Yeah, he sent me a nice note saying he's got his schedule set or just wanted to collaborate with other promoters. The thing is, I appreciate that, but the thing is, there's like 8 card shows in Wisconsin. There's only 4 weekends. So unfortunately, there's going to be conflicting dates when it comes to card shows, especially when there's the amount we have here in Wisconsin and in Northern Illinois. So it's just like, because I think I go up against that Eau Claire show in January and maybe potentially April if I get my date. Like I want the last Saturday and that's when he goes. It's just like, well, I can't go. The first Saturday is Oak Creek, and I'm not going to go up against Oak Creek. I'm not going to go against Rockford and Janesville, although I think there is. I was chatting with Mike, one of the promoters in Rockford and Janesville, and I think the March 30th date, they might have a Rockford show that day. So I think they're still squaring that away, but sounds like we might go head to head there. But it's just, and it's like, it is what it is. Like there's only so many weekends in a month, and when there's 12 card shows in a 2-hour radius and there's only 4 weekends in a month, shit happens. So now I think where you're at in Minnesota, it's a little different where there's four shows and they're all on the same weekend. Pick a different one. Dan says, have you ever thought about auctioning off your 1 millionth card as an event to the hobby businesses to try and monetize? It's crossed my mind. Yes. I've actually had somebody reach out. I've actually had somebody, a card shop actually wanted to sponsor it, which is cool. Which is pretty cool. I said, yeah, I'll think about it. So yes, that has actually even been, I've been approached, for sponsorship of, the millionth card. Uncle Rich, good morning. We've got a Tony Gwynn like percent. Thank you. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and shop my eBay store. George wears boxer briefs, best of both worlds. I think that's is that the briefs, but longer, not the tighty whities, not those. I think I'm wearing boxer briefs. I think that's what I'm wearing. Let's see. Value Box Digger says, would love to see at the Minnesota show sometime. Maybe the October show. April is iffy for snowstorms. October is October 12th through the 14th. Running Buck Woodcraft. I'd like to send out a few of my graded card display stands to those in the chat and the Hobby Evolution Facebook group. Hey, that's pretty cool. So hit up Running Buck Woodcraft. I think he is Running Buck Woodcraft on Facebook. I believe he's also in the Hobby Evolution Facebook group. If you're not a member of the Hobby Evolution Facebook group, join in. There's a lot of great conversation going on in there. We talk. It's a lot of it's eBay. It's pretty eBay centric, but it doesn't have to be. You can start your own little thread and talk about what you got in the mail today and all that good stuff. Just don't be a dick. That's the only thing we ask on Hobby Evolution. Just don't be. Sometimes I'm a dick, and I don't mean to be. Don't be a dick on purpose, right? So join the Hobby Evolution Facebook group. Type in Hobby Evolution in the Facebook search bar. It should pop up, and hit up Running Buck Woodcraft. So let's talk about, before we play Name That Player, let's talk a little bit about the NCAA transfer portal and the NIL and why I think they're good things. Uncle Rich says, by the way, I need one more for the gift exchange as I had a very late entrant. There you go. So if you have not signed up for the Secret Santa, the Hobby Evolution Secret Santa, reach out to Rich Klein, Hobby Evolution Facebook group, email sabergeek@aol.com, I believe, sabrgeek@aol.com, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So hit up Uncle Rich, one more for the Hobby Evolution Secret Santa. By the way, the Couch People Christmas party is also December 16th. So when I get back from the St. Charles Card Show, we will fire up the stream and have a good old-fashioned Hobby Evolution Christmas party. NIL, good. NCAA transfer portal, good. Why? So I have intimate knowledge on the inner workings of NCAA athletics, working in a Division I athletics department for 3 years. Before this, I probably would have been like many people that I see on social media. Oh, what college? Oh, they get all this free stuff and they get this, that, and the other. And well, they can get the academic scholarships. How come they don't get this? Well, here's the thing. College athletes cannot get jobs. There's no time. Could they go out and get a job at McDonald's, Walmart, Dairy Queen? Probably. But they wouldn't be able to put any hours in because they're working as a full-time student athlete. I learned firsthand how much time goes into being an athlete on a Division I athletics team. Not firsthand, but secondhand. Not only that, travel, like my Lewiston, Macomb, Illinois to Lewiston, Idaho, not an easy trip. Western Illinois, low major Division I's, they don't have private charter jets flying them from point A to point B. It's planes, trains, and automobiles. You know, to get to Lewiston, Idaho from Macomb, we had to bus over an hour to either Peoria or Moline to go to the airport. Then we fly into, I think we flew into Spokane, Washington. And then from Spokane, Washington, we had to bus from Spokane, Washington to Lewiston, Idaho, which was probably, 2 hours. I can't remember. It's right on the border, but probably a couple hours. To get anywhere on the west. Why here? Just kind of a sidebar. Traveling to the West Coast is freaking difficult. It is not easy, nor is it cheap to get anywhere on the West Coast. Why is there not a West Coast? Why is there not a national on the West Coast? Well, this is why. Our trip to Oregon, we had to bus 3 hours to St. Louis, fly from St. Louis. Half of our party went from St. Louis to Denver. The other half went from St. Louis to Seattle. I was part of the Denver leg. From Denver, we flew to Portland, where we were supposed to meet the other half of the party that flew into Seattle. Their flight was delayed, so they missed their connecting flight from Seattle to Portland. They had to rent a van and drive from Seattle to Salem, Oregon, where we were staying. we jumped on our bus that was waiting for us in Portland at the airport and bussed from Portland to Salem. And then, fortunately, on the way back, we got to actually travel together, and we bussed from Salem, Oregon, all the way up to Seattle, flew back to St. Louis, I think through Denver, and then bussed the 3 hours from St. Louis to Macomb. Not easy. Now, all that travel also takes a lot of time. You're on the road. You come back, you've got studies, you've got tests to make up. I spent more time on the 5th floor at Stipes Hall taking tests and quizzes on Fridays or Mondays whenever I was not traveling, because I was missing a lot of class in the basketball months. College kids, yes, they get perks. They get tuition. They get books. They get meal per diems. Usually they get fed. They have meals together. They have meetings at night. They have study tables at night to make sure they're getting their studies done. They have staff, athletics, academic staff that tutor and help them with homework and all that stuff. So studying. So there's when do you get in time to work? You don't. So I guess now today, well, and 10 years ago, even 10 years ago, you couldn't make money on your, like, hey, I'm Chris Cross and I'm a stud athlete. I'm going to go on YouTube and all this and make money because I'm Chris Cross. You couldn't do that because that's an NCAA violation. So you could, if you had the time, you could go down and work at McDonald's and Walmart, but you didn't have the time. What do you have the time for? Going on Twitch and playing video games and making money. Better watch out. NCAA violations. So what else? So NIL is good because not every college athlete has a silver spoon. Most of them don't. A lot of them come from rough upbringings, and they can't call mom and dad and say, hey, I need $20. I don't have any food. They can't go to they can't go to Subway. And this is what drove me absolutely insane. I get called to the compliance office because I'm tweeting about Skid Row to some potential recruit's dad on Twitter, and I'm in the compliance office. We had our football banquet one year. Our defensive coordinator at the time was talking about the defensive player of the year and how he sat down. He bought him lunch at Subway. And I'm sitting with our SID at the time, our sports information director. I think this was my first year, so I'm still learning about NCAA violations. And he just like puts he's like, oh, that's an NCAA violation. And you have to self-report that. You don't have to, but there are consequences if you don't. So you couldn't even buy a kid. Kid could be poor, have no money, no family, doesn't have any food, and you can't buy him a frickin' $5 sub at Subway. NCAA violation. I'm at the alumni event the other night, and now all of a sudden we're talking about a really good student athlete who is so good might transfer. Like, yeah, don't know if she's going to stick around. And I've actually heard this from numerous people, this situation. And then I was told they don't even have an NIL fund. Universities have NIL funds where they have crowdsourced and fundraised for name, image, and likeness money that is dispersed within NCAA rules to student athletes. So they have money coming in. Nine years ago, I'm in the compliance office getting scolded for tweeting about Skid Row to a potential student athlete. Now we're raising money to give to kids. It's pay to play. Lots changed in 9 years. But I think it's good. I think this is good just because of some of the kids, like, they're hungry. And how do you have successful students first on, if they're eating ramen noodles every day, and athletically, physically, that's not good. Poor diet, not good. That's why, as much as they can, they're able to cater in meals for these student athletes. So at least the NIL is giving, because, and here's the thing, the NCAA is to blame. If you think the NIL deals are bad, blame the NCAA. I think most people do anyway. The NCAA is the reason. The NCAA makes billions of dollars off of college student athletes, and yet they prevent them from making money, while the NCAA sits back and counts their billions of dollars they're making on all of this bullshit. NIL is good. Levels the playing field. Levels the playing field for institutions. Levels the playing field, most importantly, for the young adults, especially the young struggling adults that don't have a strong support system to back them up. A lot of the rich kids at Duke, doesn't really affect them. But if you're at a school like Western Illinois, Idaho, Savannah State, Southeastern Louisiana, a lot of kids don't have that. NIL is good. Transfer portal. Now, does everything about the NIL and the transfer, is everything good about the NIL and the transfer portal? No, there's certainly weaknesses. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many rules are in place. Rules are going to be broken. They will always be broken. There's never going to be a perfect scenario in anything in life. Life is imperfect. NCAA transfer portal, it's good. Same as NIL, making billions of dollars, yet not allowing the student athletes that you're making billions of dollars off of, preventing them from making a dime, and you're making billions. Same goes for the transfer portal. Well, you can't transfer. You have to sit out a year. What about I'm trying to think of a coach who left. Urban Meyer. Say Urban Meyer leaves Ohio State for Florida or vice versa. I can't remember. Does he have to sit out a year? Hell, he might even be under contract. I'm leaving. See ya. Can a college kid do that? No. Your coach can leave you high and dry and go on to the next big thing. But the college kid can't. Couldn't. Now the NCAA transfer portal levels that playing field. Like, how would that make you feel as a college athlete? You are recruited by head coach, just going to pull a name out, Johnson. Head coach Johnson recruits you, tells you, whispers sweet nothings into your ear. You're the greatest. You're going to be a star. You come and you play for him. You work your ass off. And then all of a sudden, Coach Johnson says, there's greener pastures over the hill, and I'm going to leave you high and dry. But this kid can't even go with you. If old Sweet Nothing's head coach wants to take you with him, he couldn't in the past. Well, he could, but you'd have to sit out a year. There were extenuating circumstances, hardships, and all that, but for the most part, he couldn't do that. Couldn't just up and leave. You were punished. The coach isn't punished. It's not right. What's that teaching 18 to 22-year-olds? Put in the hard work, and eventually you'll get to screw over the next generation. All right. So let's go to the chat. Where are we at? Rob's in the house. What's up, Rob? Just went to Facebook Hobby Evolution page. Look forward to becoming a new member. Rob, let's get you added. Rob, let's see. I don't see it. Unless maybe you've already been added. Maybe you've already been added. All right. So welcome. Hall of Fame card collector. I'm currently shipping out orders from Chasing Cardboard. I'm a day behind in order processing time. It sucks, but it's great at the same time, isn't it? Mikey, look at all the orders from Chasing Cardboard. How about that? Love to see it. It sucks being behind in processing time. I was a day behind on several orders yesterday because I was so backed up. I had so many all at one time because I do 3-day handling. So I was able to keep up until yesterday when I still had a wave. So finally I am caught up and I'm on time now, but it sucks, but it's great. Like, it's good that you have all of those orders, but it sucks being behind. Andy Mack, what's up? Good morning. George says, I'm traveling to Dallas from Korea and then on to Mississippi in 50 days. Yes. Just George coming back to America. Long flight, expensive flight. It pretty much sucks when you have to fly peasant class. However, it's nice to see family. Absolutely. Max says, why are we surprised that schools have NIL funds? Because I'm not. Am I surprised? No. I'm just surprised how things have changed in 9 years. I shouldn't be, but I am. College athletics is starting to become the pros. Free agency, pay to play, the highest bidder bullshit isn't good. Stop lying to yourself. It is. It's good. I think it is good because the NCAA professionalized. I don't think that's a word, but it is today. The NCAA is to blame. If we really wanted college athletics to be amateur, then why do we have billion-dollar contracts and TV bullshit? And now we have the Big Ten, which spans from East Coast to West Coast, and it's all about the greenbacks. Blame the NCAA. I just want a level playing field for some of these student athletes. And so I think it's good. And you're not going to convince me otherwise. Because I've been in the trenches. I've seen some of these kids. A lot of people think college athletics is the Blue Bloods, Kentucky and Duke and North Carolina. I don't even know how many NCAA basketball teams there are now, 280, 285. New Jersey Institute of Technology, Grand Canyon, Western Illinois, Eastern Illinois, Tennessee Tech, Tennessee State, Alabama A&M, Prairie View. I'm just pulling random names out. Those are not blue bloods. And there's a lot of student athletes there that, yeah, sure, the NCAA is not making billions off of a point guard at Prairie View A&M. But it's as a collective unit. Ken says, I don't even need to listen to the topic. They are not good and have severely damaged my college football. Blame the NCAA. Transfer portal is hitting a lot of FCS schools hard. Delaware's quarterback from this year is heading to FBS Minnesota. Great for the players, but it hasn't been figured out entirely by the schools. I agree. Riley Leonard, the Duke quarterback, which in some of the early mock drafts, he was like a projected first round, second round pick. And I saw his name hit the transfer portal. We have Wisconsin's losing like a backup redshirt freshman quarterback. Could have been a starting quarterback in the future. He's not going to be at Wisconsin. A couple other linemen. I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because if you allow coaches to do it, why not the players? And sometimes there are legit reasons. Sometimes it's just want to go play somewhere else. Why should you handcuff a player? When you When you sign up to go to Western Illinois University as a student, was I handcuffed to Macomb, Illinois for 4 years? Was I forced to be there for 4 years? No. That's like dictatorship to force you. Well, you agreed to come here and play, and we're giving you, and now you can't leave. That's bullshit. Is there anything in life where you, besides prison, where you're forced to stay for 4 years? Sorry, you can't go. Like, think about that. When you signed up for college, did anybody transfer colleges? I mean, I didn't. I chose not to. Well, I never entered Western the first time. But it's like, what are my options? Card Hobbyist says, players should be allowed to make money outside of their scholarship, but it is hard to separate that and getting kids to go to certain schools from money. So, and yes, I agree with this. So there is going to be, here's the thing. I was having dinner with some coaches when I was at the university, and this topic, because when I was there 10 years, I mean, this has been talked about for, several years. It was starting to gain some traction back, 10 years ago. And this was brought up about, now you're going to have, now it's like, it's not even like a secret. Like having a fund, an NIL fund, it's not even a secret. You can actually have an NIL fund. It's okay. It's allowed, which I didn't know. Like I've been out of college athletics for 9 years. So I'm like, what? And we started talking about who cheats. There's always been money. There's always been money in college athletics. I just watched the documentaries. Some of them have been caught. Some of them have not been ever caught. But there's still money changing hands. It's something that will never be fully policed. And does this open the door? I mean, if anything, it's almost like I don't know if I want to go there. I'm not going to go there, but I'll do a different one. I drank beer before I turned 21. It was cool. It was dangerous because there was this, I'm not supposed to be doing this. When I turned 21, I drank less. It was like, you're young and dumb at that age. At least I was. A lot of people were. And I think now that it's like, it's like pot, legalization of pot. It's like, it's not somewhere you sneak out and, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. It's almost like that with NIL. It's like, well, yeah, just do it. Yeah, there's got to be certain restrictions. There are still laws. But if you open it up, it might actually be beneficial than not. Dairyland Picker says, this will affect the education part. I understand some will be pros, but most won't. Hopefully the financial education is in the system, so the ones that don't make it less risky ending up broke. And that's always, that is always, that's the tricky part. Robert says, my best friend's son had a full football ride to Stanford, told me about this stuff. One, he was offered a ride in the rain by a booster and had to say no. Other was an offer for lunch, and again, no. It's absolutely, there was, at one school that I'm familiar with, a janitor saw a student athlete at a sports bar and told the waitress that he was paying for that student athlete's meal. I don't know the full details of it, but the student athlete tells the coach. The coach says, shit, they had a game that night or the next night. I think it was the night before was the dinner, and then the next morning they came in and it was game day. Like, I don't know if we can play them tonight. And I think they had to self-report that. Like, a staff member here at our university attempted to, and the athlete ended up paying themselves, but still had to go self-report. Stuke says New Hampshire quarterback, not Delaware. Max says, I suppose I was a rich kid because I went to Madison versus Western or Platteville. I don't know what you're talking about there. Duke is like rich kids. Rich kids go to Duke. That's just kind of what it's fucking expensive. Poor people can't go to Duke unless they're really smart. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. I didn't say University of Wisconsin, University of Illinois, University of Nebraska, any of those. I said Duke. Duke's expensive. Financial education should be taught before anyone goes to college. That is lacking. I totally 100% agree. And this is like from my own personal experience because, everybody's high school and schooling is going to be different. Education is going to be different. My school, I had like one semester of consumer's education. That's it. Do you know how many times I had to fucking watch Shakespeare movies and all that bullshit? Now it's certainly important, but how many units of Shakespeare do you need? I had a lot more Shakespeare education than I had balancing a checkbook and learning about finance and accounting. And I still suck in that category on Jeopardy. George says, I want the days of athletes making $12,000 a year and working jobs at the lumber mill in the off season to come back. Right. Digging graves with Richie Hebner. There's a huge difference here between the kid making money off his name and being offered millions to come to a school. Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying there isn't. Card Hobbyist says, but the kid is being offered millions because of his name. Ken can't listen to this. He's out. NDSU lost their best basketball player to Alabama, and he's starting there. Rich says it is a reminder for those who may not be regular. Bo goes for a while before getting to the topic. Hey, we're right on topic today. We did go a while. Max says college athletics is $1 billion industry built on the backs of those that weren't compensated for all their work for years. I agree with that. But now kids are just going to go to the highest bidder. In some cases, yes, that is certainly going to be the case. Isn't that what life is all about? When you're in the workforce, isn't that what it's about? Like, why wouldn't you? I mean, this is a nation built on capitalism. Why would you not choose to go to the highest bidder if given the choice? If Western Illinois comes along with, sorry, we only have $5,000 to give you from our NIL fund, but the University of Illinois comes along and says, we can give you $25,000. Shit, I'm going to Illinois. I'm getting $25K, not $5. Just like if some company comes along, if Apple, I'll give you $1 million. But this company's only going to give you $40,000. Where are you going? You're going to Apple. You're going to the highest bidder. That's life. That's life in America. So why we're the greatest country. With an asterisk in sometimes. George loves this chat. I'm drunk and been eating chicken feet and chicken gizzards. Can't afford the real parts of the chicken. There you go. George didn't go to Duke. Max says, went completely opposite. I'm almost with Kin here. Card Hobbyist says, regulars know all about tangent evolution. Shane says, have a great Friday. He's got to get to work. Rob is in. You are welcome. Rich wants to know how long you're going to be in Dallas for. I know several of us would love to meet you. Oh, George is going to be in Dallas. Hall of Fame card collector. Loves it. Uncle Rich says it's better than the old rules. NIL gives those athletes the rights to make the money the NCAA was making on their backs. 100%. 100%. Thank you. I'm not alone in my battle. I've got Uncle Rich on my side. Let's see. George says he's only going to be in Dallas for 4 hours. Sometimes I book a long stopover, but I didn't this time. Got to get as much family time in as possible. Uh-oh. Max went all caps. The blue bloods will get even bluer. Don't you get it? That's okay. I'm okay with that. There was no parity before NIL and transfer portal. This is no different. That's true. The blue bloods have always been blue and they always will be blue. That's the thing. However, this does open the door for those institutions that are wise and that can utilize the playing field has been. This isn't 1985 anymore. There are so many ways to make money than there were 40 years ago. We have more TV options than where I grew up. It was 4, 6, and 8. There's more than just ABC, NBC, CBS. You can be on TV. I watched on TV last night in my rec room, Western Illinois versus Hannibal LaGrange on my TV. And all I had to do was click ESPN, scroll, oh, there's my game, click, boom. Everything's on TV. We've got the internet. It's actually a more of a level playing field today, certainly, than it was 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. I couldn't watch Western Illinois on my rec room TV 10 years ago. Let's see. There was no parity before. Oh, yep. Let's see. Ken with the get off my lawn comment. Value Box Digger says Minnesota has a few good college quarterbacks on the Vikings. Let's see. Max to the card hobbyist. There was a lot more than there will be in 5 years. Your sad little small D1 school might not have a program in 5 years. My small D1 school might not have a program in 5 years because the institution itself might go under because the state of Illinois is broke. That it's not going to be because of NIL or transfer portal. It's because of the education fund in the state of Illinois. Let's see. Transfer portal is a separate argument completely. I'm just mixing them. I'm combining the two because I think they're both good in ways. There's negatives. It's not just, happy days. But the transfer portal is good because you're not handcuffed. You shouldn't be handcuffed. Your head coach can leave. Why can't the player leave? It's a double standard. Sal Dougie's here. It's good for the athletes, but making the league even less watchable. I don't know about that. Let's see. Dairy Landpicker says my college football coach left for bigger money. Yep, but the players can't. Sorry, you're stuck here, whether you like it or not. But when you go out into the real world, you can do what your coach did to you. A former NFL player once told me that he took a pay cut when he went pro. He went to a big school. I've heard stories such as that. Andy Mack says bringing the money out of the shadows is a good thing. It's better for the athletes. Yes. It's always been. If you don't think this has been happening, let me tell you, it has. Whether it's been found out or not, it's been happening. Legalized sports gambling and the amount of revenue has influenced everything sports related. And I think it sucks that leagues are now bowing down to the DraftKings and all that bullshit, because now it's like, well, you can't, again, it's a double standard. Well, you can't bet on sports, whether it's, obviously you don't want a player betting on his own team, but we're going to take all their money. We're going to legalize gambling and we're going to they're going to be our sponsor of games. But you can't. Like, come on. Uncle Rich says, back in the day when I was involved in the alumni interviewing and college fair process, Duke had a setup. Mr. Smith says, Shakespeare was not important. I hated that shit. The only thing I liked about Shakespeare was at the end of the unit, we got to watch Romeo and Juliet, which I didn't like the movie, but I liked that it was a movie day and we didn't have to read. That's what I liked about it. Where if you donated $500,000 or more, your college application went to a special admissions officer. Yeah. Good old Duke. Let's see. Value Box Digger had no idea there was so much tension around college sports. Yeah, I like it. Kyle says, people criticize student athletes for going to the highest bidder, yet when have you ever gone to a competitor of your employer and asked for less money? Right. Why should we hold student athletes to a different standard than what we do in real life? Everybody does in real life. Well, now everybody's going to go to the highest bidder. Isn't that what life is all about? That's what life is all about. How do you grow as a person? How do you grow your bank account? Not by being loyal to somebody that's not going to pay you shit. You're going to go to the highest bidder. Better your life. You don't better your life by just, well, I'm going to go to work, do the thing. Oh, I got this offer, but nope, I'm loyal. I'm going to take less money from this asshole at Division I University in Nebraska. You go to the highest bidder. Value Box Digger. Why do people sell on sport lots over eBay? Because they enjoy the cheaper fees out of their pocket. Sounds like the same to me as going where the money is. In a sense, I mean, sometimes sport lots is more expensive on fees. Just depends on how much you sell. But yeah, essentially, where do you sell? Why do people not like selling on eBay? Because they like less fees. And if you can sell on other platforms for less fees, more power to you. Do it. Follow the money, right? Follow the money. People say, I don't like selling on eBay because of the fees. Why don't you like the fees? Well, because it's more money out of your pocketbook, your wallet. You make more money. Rich says, it's a long story having to do when my wife was working but on dialysis and our health insurance was being reimbursed. Max says he's not criticizing the students. Come on, you aren't stupid. Take your money and run. As a fan, it's a slippery slope. I'd love to get political here and should, but won't. Rich says, but I had to keep our income under a certain amount, so I actually told my employer not to give me a raise until I said something. And there's absolutely, and sometimes a raise hurts because it could move you into another tax bracket. It's like, well, if they're only going to give me, if it's only $1,000 more, but it moves you into another tax bracket, it may cost you a couple thousand, a few thousand. Let's see. Andy Mack says, I think schools like Nebraska with huge alumni and fan bases will benefit from being able to pay kids to go there without a doubt. Any school with, the funny thing is, and it does, size doesn't always matter. So I worked at Western Illinois. And we're Division I athletics program. Now it's a low major in basketball. It's FCS in football. Division I regardless. 10,000 roughly. At times it was 15,000 enrollment. Monmouth College was just to our north. 30-minute drive. Monmouth College, Division III athletics, Midwest Conference. Monmouth College had like a bigger what do you call it? They had more money gifted to them. It was almost like every month, alumni donates $4.3 million back to Monmouth College. So not all the time does, a bigger fan or alumni base. Usually that is the case, but sometimes there are exceptions to that rule. It's like we were all jealous, like, oh my God, another $4 million gift to Monmouth College. And we're fighting for $10,000 at Western. Let's see. Everyone bitches about the SEC play, having 2 or 3 schools in the playoff. Welcome to the college football playoff, now just becoming the SEC championship. Old school bookies are suffering and no one cares. Only degens without money use bookies because of no money down. Let's see. Andy says this generation of kids won't be compliant and just go along with the old double standards like coaches being allowed to switch schools with no 1-year penalty. They aren't student athletes if they're getting paid. Yes, they are. They certainly are. They're students and they're athletes. Paid or not, you're still a student athlete. You're going to school. Now, if they weren't going to school and they're playing football full time, then you're not a student athlete because you're not going to school. They are literally student athletes. They are students. They are athletes. They're just paid athletes. Does it stop at college, high school, T-ball? No, I mean, I don't think it should. I mean, I bet there's probably kids playing T-ball that make more money on YouTube revenue than me, certainly. My $3 a day. I bet there is. I guarantee you there is. High school, most certainly. Let's see. Kyle realizes there are circumstances like that. Max says, let's start up a fund that pays 2 former elite athletes to have children, and then we reap all the rewards as the investor later. That way we can pay our expensive eBay fees. There you go. There you go. You figured it out. Can you deduct cash collection purchases on taxes? Absolutely. Just make sure there's a paper trail. You can certainly deduct it. Again, I'm not an accountant, so don't take my word for anything. Ask your tax professional, but you can. Just make sure there's a paper trail. And do not follow anybody's tax advice on YouTube, Facebook, or other social media. Call a tax professional. John says people getting scholarships shouldn't be NIL. Take your NIL money and pay your own damn way. But scholarships mean you don't pay tuition. How do you eat? You have to have money to eat food. If you come from no money and you just happen to be a very talented athlete, you still have to purchase food. Sometimes there are stipends given depending on the scholarship, but also usually those stipends only cover dorm meals. If you're in the dorms, dorm meals. And when you're on Thanksgiving break and you're traveling with the team, or, not every meal is covered. You still have to have food in your kitchen to eat. Not every meal is covered. So scholarships doesn't mean you're just like, there's still a lot. Room and board, not always covered in a scholarship. Not books aren't even covered in all scholarships. There are expenses outside of scholarships. And if you can't get a job because you are a full-time employee as a student athlete at a Division I university, you don't have time to get a job. How do you get money? Because there are expenses outside of your tuition. Can I get fractional on that? There you go. Raise doesn't hurt. That is a myth. Tax brackets are stepped. You pay incremental rates. Penn State has the biggest alumni base. Their endowment doesn't approach Ivy's. I just looked at my endowment. I wasn't impressed. Because you've been. I know why, George. Because you're wearing those boxer briefs. Those are holding your endowment back. Like Bo said, the expectation on today's student athletes' time prohibits them from having jobs. Flawed thinkers in the house. What's up? Let's see. Rich says we're getting smarter here in DFW and not just rubber stamping $94 million with an M high school football stadiums. Think about that for a second. They wanted to build a nearly $100 million football stadium not far from where I live. High school football, baby. Texas. Alan Rosen paid in cash and kept scrupulous records in his speak days. Card Hobbyist says, well, there are prep schools and academies on the high end, on the high school level that throw the money around. Yeah, I mean, this is even happening in high schools. I mean, if you're that talented, there are recruiting races and money being thrown around for 8th graders And that's been happening for decades. Might as well just make it might as well. You've been doing it for the last 40 years. And might as well. Grandfather it in. Transfer portal makes it harder to connect to teams as players change to free. It's like free. It's collegiate free agency. I'm less inclined to watch NIL as important and a key piece of equity for the athletes. I'm okay with. Do I like it? Not all the time. I mean, if my favorite player transfers, I'm not going to like it. But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Let's see. Max says, Rich, it's Texas. The rest of the country doesn't count you guys. We lump you in with California. Let's see. There you go. Andy Max says, yeah, high school athletes have been getting recruited, incentivized forever. NIL pays for your food. Right. So what was your comment? People getting, because so what you said in your statement, people getting scholarships shouldn't be NIL. So, okay, so I guess if you're getting NIL, then you pay your own. Okay, now I get it. I had to work backwards. So I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. If you're making $1 million on NIL, give that scholarship to somebody who needs it. I'm okay with that. There we go. I think this is something we all can agree on. College textbooks are a scam. Yes. I know how it works. I paid 9 years of tuition. Student athletes have their room, food, board paid. No, that is not correct across the board. That is incorrect in many cases. Student athletes do not always have their room, food, board paid for. There are sometimes it's half scholarships. Some of the non-money-making sports, baseball, for example, sometimes it's only half scholarships. So only half of your tuition is paid. Many scholarships, room and board, and certainly food are not paid for. This is from working within college athletics for 3 years at the institution I worked for. Now, are there some institutions where it's different? Absolutely. Not every scholarship is the same. There are different scholarships at different schools. Some don't pay for, like at Western, some guys had all of everything paid for. Some didn't. Some had to pay their own room and board at the dorms. And certainly food. Food was not included. Now, you received a stipend for your dorm food, but if you lived off campus, you didn't get that paid for. And then sometimes you received always per diem on the road, and all that. Value Box Digger says, we're getting very close to gaining the California viewers getting out of bed for the day to join Name That Player. Yeah, we're 90 minutes in. How far behind? I don't think we're too far behind it. Oh, we're only 3 minutes behind in the chat, so we're catching up. Allen, Texas High School Stadium is nuts. George needs another beer. Yeah. You want people to have it both ways. Free ride and 7-figure NIL. Sounds like a billionaire who doesn't want to pay taxes. I really don't have a strong opinion on this particular point. I don't have a strong opinion either way. I mean, they've earned the free ride and they've earned the NIL. They've earned it. Why should we take away something that they earned? I mean, if you get a good promotion that you get great benefits and $100,000 a year. Well, we're not going to give you the benefits because we're giving you $100,000. But you earned both, right? That's probably a poor example, but I'm okay with a free ride and 7-figure NIL. They've earned it, especially with the NIL, because that you're not making 7-figure NIL. Well, unless you're Livy Dunn, you're doing a lot of that on your looks, but you've earned it. And maybe it is just looks, but you still have to market that, right? I'm okay with it. If you want to take away the scholarship, okay, you're making, and it's like, I don't know, low income housing or something. Well, you make over this threshold, so you can't have free housing. So we're going to take away your scholarship because you're making too much money. I'm okay with that. But I'm also okay with free ride and 7-figure NILs. So if they do one or the other, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. Max says I'm doing well today. 2 comments skipped. Soft. I skip a lot. I mean, hey, you just wait. You're not anywhere in low roller scratcher territory. I skip 25 of his comments a day. It makes the Bowman U Chrome product fun. There you go. And Fanatics making money on these student athletes. Still just one. Value Box Digger says college textbooks no longer exist, at least at some colleges. My family member has a school issued laptop that you download. See, and that's what, oh my God. See, even when I went back to school in what year was it? 2011. I'd been out of school for almost 10 years. The technology was it's only been 10 years. What the hell's going on? Not even 10 years. Now I have to do everything on a computer. Can you just give me a paper? Oh, let me write the paper down. I don't want to thank God we still had when I was back, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, at least we still had, we had textbooks, but they were freaking expensive, as they always have been. Card Hobbyist says it's a double standard. If a public university is getting money from both public funding and commercial contracts, then the students should be able to as well. Amen. Not incorrect when we're talking about the NIL money. If you're making millions on NIL, I 100% guarantee it's all being paid for. Your institution is not indicative of the money being thrown around, nor is yours. I mean, nobody's single institution is indicative of the money being thrown around. What I'm saying is, and I'd never compared Western Illinois to Nebraska. You're comparing Nebraska to Western Illinois. So, you're comparing the same thing. You're doing the same thing that you're alleging I'm doing. I'm saying across the board, there's 285 Division I universities. Just because one school does it this way doesn't mean the next school does it the same way. There's differing scholarships at every institution. Many are the same. Most of them are probably the same. I have personal experience working in a Division I college athletics department. Does that mean I know what Nebraska's doing or what Penn State's doing or what Harvard is doing? Absolutely not. 0%. But I know what one Division I university is doing, and it's different from what some of the stuff you're saying. So it's not across the board. Just because you have a scholarship doesn't mean you're making money on X, Y, and Z. Dairyland Picker says, my first 2 years I had $5,000, then my third $750, then fourth full ride when I started full time. George says, my scholarship for graduating in the top 5 of my class was $100 a semester. Well, hey, that was big money in 1912. Allen High School Stadium is not even as good as McKinney's. They had to rebuild the Allen Stadium because $64 million just did not get a well-constructed stadium. High school. I pay $60,000 a year all in for an education for my son. I'm allowed to deduct $2,500. Caleb Williams stays in school because he's making more money. Yeah. So this is a good thing, right? If you are a USC football fan and Caleb Williams, he's going to make more money as the number 1 pick in the NFL than he would in the NIL. But there are, in some instances, a player will make more money. And actually, in many instances, a player will make more money on NIL than he would make in professional, whatever sport. Football, basketball, whatever. So in many cases, if you're a college fan of, say, USC, say Caleb Williams would make more money on NIL than he would as the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. He wouldn't. It's like, well, he's going to stay. because he's going to make more. That's good, right? If you're a USC football fan, you want Caleb Williams back next year. You don't want him going to the NFL. And that's going to happen. There's more of that. Like, why would, look at, now this doesn't really hold water, but it's kind of Caitlin Clark, Iowa Hawkeyes basketball. Of course, we know the WNBA salaries are minimal, but still, in some cases, decent money. Caitlin Clark's going to make way more money on NIL than she would as a professional basketball player. Caitlin Clark probably would make more money, and I don't know what she makes on NIL, but I would venture to guess Caitlin Clark would make more money this year alone in NIL than what she would make in her entire WNBA career as a professional women's basketball player. The NIL system is broken. We can revisit in 5 years when it's been completely. It's not broken. It hasn't really had time to break. It's only been around for a year and a half. I don't think it's broken. If it is broken, it was just created broken. And it will be completely revamped in 5 years, without a doubt. Without question, there's certainly going to be it's a lot of moving parts. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not even close to perfect, and it never will be perfect. But in 5 years, it's going to look completely different. Card Hobbyist says, crazy that 3 of the most expensive high school football stadiums in the entire U.S. are located in the same Texas county. Where is Mike Smith? Where's Low Roller Scratcher? John says, bottom line, college sports now unwatchable. Wow. But my question is, if this is a serious comment, because I see your next comment, and that's not serious. Why is it unwatchable? What makes college sports now unwatchable? What made, and I am genuinely curious why college sports is now unwatchable. Is it because of the transfer portal? Is it because of NIL? Or is it just something else? The college game, to me, nothing has changed. I mean, from what I watch, and I watch more than Western Illinois squash. I watch their handball team also. The game hasn't changed at all. I mean, I've never really been a big college football fan, just because mainly because I'm just not a big college football fan. I'm not a big college. I keep saying college football because I'm not a big football fan. I'm a big college basketball fan, not a big NBA fan. I watch the NFL, don't really watch college football. I watch the college basketball, don't watch the NBA. Nothing in the college sports realm. I never really did like college football. I've always liked college basketball, and it's still the same to me. I agree with Flawed Thinker's comment. Give Reggie his Heisman back. 100% agree with that. George wants us to remember Topps cornhole cards. We're going to remember 2021. We had all of these random ass cornhole cards, kind of like 1992, where everything had a card. Caterpillar, not the animal, but the company, had trading cards in the early 90s. Rich Klein says, going back to a slightly different topic, I have an office basically by myself with some of Ange and Steph's show materials joining me. All right. Flexible hours in 10 minutes from my house. Can't beat that. Let's see. Is Rich watching the same show I am? He might be on delay. So a few years ago, when some people contacted me about, hey, you want to work from us? When I said, first, you got to match these conditions, it was, well, we don't like that, so stay where you are. Right. Everybody should be entitled to their choices. Thank you, everyone, for the support you've shown me. I greatly appreciate it so much. It means the world. That's Mikey. You saw him on the most recent episode of Chasing Cardboard, and he is busy shipping from all of the orders that are flowing in. Uncle Rich is in his own little world. And what's wrong with that? For making more money and less pressure? Absolutely. Value Box Digger says, I'm just backseat riding. This is the longest Bo has stayed on topic in 1,044 episodes. Apparently, this show, Hobby Evolution, only goes as far as the chat takes us. I could have gave you my reasons in 5 minutes, and we would have been playing Name That Player. But we had a lot of great chats today, a lot of differing opinions. And we're still going an hour 40. We haven't even played Name That Player, and I think it's a 15-card pack today. Max says, everyone hates the rich getting richer in society, but why not in college sports? I don't hate it. I'm not everyone. I don't hate the rich getting richer. I think that's what makes America great. If you want to get rich, find a way, not Uncle Rich Klein. Don't get Uncle Rich Klein. If you want to find a way to improve your financial standing, get richer, there's opportunities out there in America. Uncle Rich says, I'd bet for Mr. Keating, what makes it unwatchable is that you don't see the same players each year as you did previously. We hit a topic he knows about and is passionate about. There you go. Yeah, because I am passionate about this because I've seen the struggle firsthand of, and a lot of people just lump in college athletics as Duke basketball and Alabama football and USC football. And that's like 1%, 2% of college athletics. Even within those institutions, it may be Nebraska or Georgia or USC. There's other sports that are, swimming, there's college athletes there, and they have about the same workload as a Alabama football and a Duke basketball player. One and done in college basketball, one and done transfer portal. So has college basketball been unwatchable for you for the last 30 years? Because one and done in college basketball has been a thing since, the late 90s. John was a huge college basketball fan and don't enjoy anymore. But I mean, the one and done in college basketball, that's not a new phenomenon. That's been going on for decades. Uncle Rich says, so yes, once we got on topic, we stayed there. Ivy League basketball sounds like a good place for you to watch. There you go. If you want to watch 4-year basketball players, root on Rich's alma mater, Cornell, I believe. John says the NBA draft is watered down because you're not getting a Ewing, a Jordan, or anyone with an established college career. In some cases you are, but I agree. In most cases, it's a one and done where, it's like, who's this guy? But now it's like Victor Wembanyama. Not many people knew him because he wasn't even from the United States. You didn't see him in March Madness. You didn't see him on ESPN. And I think one of next year's NBA draft is kind of there's not a Victor Wembanyama, there's not a Zion Williamson in next year's draft. And there's multiple guys that are in the mix for that number 1 overall pick. And I think one of those guys is a Euro guy. Card Hobbyist says, I had a pack of trading cards of truckers with their Max, Freightliners, and Internationals. Yeah, Harley Davidson cards, Coca-Cola cards. My goodness. Flipping Sports Guy says, whoa, are we getting Bo overtime today? Or nope, I was only a couple minutes late. I'm just going overtime today. We're nearly 2 hours in. I got snow removal equipment cards from the Madison Public Library. Sal Dougie, you got them. Oh, man. I saw those are all over the internet. I wonder if those are selling on eBay. Let's look that up. Let's see. Hey, I just sold the 1990 Pro Set Payne Stewart golf card out of my eBay store. Madison snow card. Let's see if any of these are up on eBay. I bet there is. No? I don't see any. I just typed in Madison snow card. So John says the Ivy League is dead to me once Pete Carroll left. Collector's Dream says Mikey is an awesome guy. Congrats on the chasing cardboard experience. Max says you live in Madison. You want to take their money. I don't know what that was in regards to. You want to take their money. Whose money do I want to take? I want to take everybody's money. within legal boundaries, right? We'll exchange goods and services for your money. Sal Dougie also gives kudos to Mikey on his Chasing Cardboard episode. John says, conversely, we've eliminated field days from elementary school so that everyone is inclusive, yet we still offer grading in the classroom where some kids are obviously inferior. Value Box Digger says, rich getting richer by putting in the work, more power to them. Making college rosters by hard work, more power to them. Amen. Amen. Stuke says, I've been playing NCAA fantasy football for 20 years. This NIL transfer portal makes it a little more interesting. There you go. Flipping Sports Guy says, who eliminated field day from school? I was watching my kid's field day last spring. There you go. Value Box Digger, 30 years ago was the 90s. I know. I hear 30 years ago, that's 1970. I know. I was actually doing some math. I'm like, 30 years ago was what, 1998? Or wait, no, that was 1988. Like, no, shit, 30 years ago was 1993 and almost 1994. We're only a month away. Eurostep, traveling has made basketball watching difficult. I agree with that. And that's why I don't really like the NBA game. NCAA, although college basketball is starting to creep closer and closer to the NBA game, which I don't like. My college team has very few one-and-dones in its history. Tim Thomas. Jay Wright left the game because of the NIL. That's a shame. Let's see. Because Wembanyama got paid to learn and didn't sponge off of college. John is a teacher, although in another country, the education system is pretty dang effed. It's all political capital. Flawed Thinker says, as a Duke basketball fan, I'm used to the one-and-done players. I don't care for it, but I understand it. I do prefer players like the Plumlee brothers that their parents made them finish college first. But yet Jay Wright likes the NIL and thinks it's going to be great for the game in the long run. So yeah, sure, that's why he retired. I think you're both Philadelphia guys too, right? Flipping Sports Guy and John Keating. Max says, in regards to hey, if you want to watch 4 years of college basketball, watch the Western Illinois Leathernecks. Watch the Western Illinois Leathernecks. Actually, we get a lot of transfer from JUCO, so you only get 2 years of some guys. In regards to the political landscape in Madison, tax the rich. Western Illinois education right there on the map. For kids today, cards printed in 2001 were like cards printed in 1971 for us. That's why we won't even get into the vintage debate. Card Hobby says, at least for my age group. Ask LSU women's basketball why NIL is an issue. Is that the Angel Reese stuff that's going on? I haven't been paying close attention to what's going on down there. Maggette was the first one and done at Duke, I think. Where's Dan? Dan knows Corey Maggette. I actually have inside info on the Jay Wright thing. Inside info. Hey, we have caught up to the chat. Let's play Name That Player because we're already an hour and 53 in. I want to get some listings up today. So let's go flash that banner. Name That Player scores. Max in the lead. Flawed Thinker in second. Scotty Dubs in third. Where is Scotty Dubs? Terry McDaniel in fourth. Also in double digits, we've got Harlan, Uncle Rich, and the card hobbyist. Tom Gibson came out of nowhere 2 weeks ago, and he's got 9 points. Is Tom Gibson here? So today, let's see. Value Box Digger says, we cannot get into the vintage debate. I got things to do. If we got into the vintage debate, we'd go on for another 2 hours. Max says she has shit grades because she's out taking pics for the gram. But I don't think it's, so here's the thing with Angel Reese. I don't think she's getting bad grades because of NIL. I think she's getting bad grades because she's a shitty student. I think she would still be going out taking pictures on Instagram if she wasn't making money on it. Sure, it's probably, but I don't think she would be a good student regardless. Flipping Sports Guy said Jay likely just didn't want to deal with it. He liked his, and I think that's probably, so I think there's truth in both what Flipping Sports Guy and John saying with Jay Wright and the NIL. He probably does think it's good for the game, but he also probably retired because he doesn't want to deal with it. So I think there's probably truth in both. He liked his players that would come in and sit for 3 to 4 years that he could mold. Tom is here. Awesome. George, first card. Pedro Guerrero. I don't think it can be Pedro Guerrero. Jay Wright be left because of the NIL. I'd rather see her picks than her transcript. There you go. Tom Gibson is responsible for the change in which Bo needs to use YouTube to verify who comes first. Thank you for the reminder, because let's see. I've got to get the screen up. Keith Comstock. It might be Keith Comstock. Let's see. We want to go to my channel. Oh, hey, I'm going to like this video. 27 likes. Oh, now I got to find the live chat. Okay, here we go. Max says she would have more time on her hands. That's complete bullshit. Well, you can think it's bullshit. It's pretty damn hard to sit because of grades. I'll take his word on he just didn't want to coach anymore. He seemed like a pretty straight shooter. John, I'd rather see the transcript. Even if I hate this program, even if I did hate his program. 30 likes, 42 viewers. Can't beat that. All right, let's play Name That Player. Where's my screen? There it is. Okay. Rich says, that's a winning percent. Greg Maddux had everywhere but for the Cubs. He was young. Orlando, thank you. Card Hobbyist laughs. Okay, here we go. Fleer 94. Name that player. Fleer 94. Oh, I need to get my... Okay, these weren't the atrocity that 95, I think, was. So let's see. I like this. We can go... We don't have to cover up too much of the card. Seattle Mariners. Seattle Mariners. Let's see. Flipping Sports Guy says Edgar. It is not Edgar. Not Edgar. There we go. Not Canseco. This guy actually played for the Mariners for a long time. 1984 all the way through 93. I don't know when but he's from Bayside, New York. It's not Rich Amaral. It's not Giles. It's not Jay Buhner. He's a catcher. I don't have much else to tell you. Tom Gibson. Tom Gibson is correct. I think that puts him in double digits. Dave Valley. All right, so we've got a tough one today. We've got a tough one. Oh, that start. Ooh, this next one's going to be fun. All right, so we got to give Tom the point there. Tom is now just 1 point behind Uncle Rich and the Card Hobbyist. 10 points. Tom in double figures. All right, next up. Next up, we got the Chicago White Sox. Chicago White Sox. This might trip up some people. I'm going to put my phone over here so I can, there we go. So I don't have to creak my neck. All right, we've got a couple. Oh, I think we've got a correct answer right off the bat. Flipping Sports Guy. Steve Sachs. Oh, Flawed Thinker also knew it. Had a couple Robin Ventura guesses. I thought Steve Sachs would throw some people off because he was more known for what, the Dodgers and Yankees? Maybe White Sox? Who else did Steve Sachs? Dodgers, right? Did he play for the Yankees? Steve Sachs. Flipping Sports Guy with the point. And let's see, where are you at? Flipping Sports Guy. That is his second point. Flipping Sports Guy. Yankees fan. Well, Peter, you were correct. It was not Frank Thomas. Half a point for Peter. All right. Here's a Yankee. All right. Flipping Sports Guy, you're up. New York Yankees. Joe Trotto in the house. What's happening? Oh, I like the Charlie Huff guess on that last one. Not Justice. This guy was also kind of a longtime Yankee. Not Jim Leyritz. Looks like he came up with the Yankees, made his debut in 1987. Velarde is correct. Flawed Thinker. Flawed Thinker with the point. Randy Velarde. All right, so we've got 3 different correct answers. Flawed Thinker got that one. Oh, Flawed Thinker catching up. 26 points. All right. Next up. Oh, no points awarded. Oh no, we've played this game before. It's a checklist. It's a checklist, and I just want you to name a player. And if this player is on the checklist, I'm not going to show it, but if this player that you name, first person that guesses a name on this checklist will get the point. Okay. So John Maybe says Gant. All right. Is Ron Gant on this checklist? Ron Gant. Ron Gant. Ron Gant. Ron Gant. Ron Gant. This does take a while. All right. He's not on side 1. Side 2, we're looking for Ron Gant. Not seeing him. Ron Gant going once. Going twice. I know this has been a long episode because I can hear my wife's alarm going off. No Ron Gant. Okay, so next, who was after Ron Gant? Ron Gant. Oh, Max. Oh, I see what Max is doing. Jim Larritz. Well, oh wait, no shit, no, I don't have. Or was Max guessing on the? Was Max guessing on the last one? But I'm just gonna go in order. Larritz was after Gant. This takes a lot longer than I had expected. Jim Larritz. Jim Larritz. Not on the first side. Jim Larritz going once. Jim Larritz going twice. Jim Larritz. Oh. No Jim Larritz. Oh, wait. Oh, no Jim Larritz. Okay, so Jim Larritz. Tony Gwynn. Okay, I think I did see Tony Gwynn on here. Tony Gwynn. Is Tony Gwynn on here? Is Tony Gwynn on here? Tony Gwynn, yes! 39 of 50 on the National League All-Stars. Tony Gwynn. All right, so Tony Gwynn to Peter. Where's Peter at? That's what she said. Peter, Tony Gwynn was on the checklist. Ron Gant and Jim Larritz were not on the checklist. So Peter with the point. And let's see, where's PK Steinberg? 3 points for Peter. All right. Here we go. Next card up. Oh, hey, here's a good one. Oh, shoot. I got 2 cards in. There we go. Here we go. A pitcher for the Orioles. Pitcher for the Orioles. Sutcliffe is correct, the card hobbyist. Rick Sutcliffe. Card hobbyist with the point, and that puts him at 12 points. He moves ahead of Harlan and Uncle Rich. Card hobbyist with 12. And we've got to move him. Today's episode is fixing to be one of the longest in Hobby Evolution history as we go over the 2-hour mark. Let's see, card hobbyist. All right. Next up, the beard gave it away. Yes, card hobby says outside of the moving. Yes, when the movers came. We went a little long that day, didn't we? All right, another pitcher, this one for the Kansas City Royals. Uncle Rich says, yeah, it's a legit long episode, unlike the muted mover episode. Kansas City Royals pitcher. Apier, great guess, incorrect. Cone is correct. Tom Gibson. David Cone. Oh, there's a dinged corner. David Cone. All right. Where are we at? Who got the Tom Gibson? So Tom moves into a tie with Uncle Rich and Harlan. 11 points. And right behind Card Hobbyist. All right, next up, another pitcher pack. Oh, hey, I like the card after this. Another pitcher, Texas Rangers. George says, no amount of refreshing would get me on time. I'm live, but like 30 seconds behind. Roger Pavlik, Card Hobbyist. Holy moly. Fast fingers for the Card Hobbyist. Roger Pavlik. Oh. I know why. It's on his jersey. I'm like, damn, you knew that one really fast. Card Hobbyist was the first one to get Pavlik. So Card Hobbyist moves up another point, and he's at 13, tied with Terry McDaniel. Uncle Rich says the name on the back gave it away. All right, so here we go. This is my favorite card of the pack. Add one to the count. Orlando says he's too slow and old for this. Chicago Cubs, another pitcher. It's not Emilio Estevez, but it is, yes, Tom Gibson, Steve Traxel. Steve Traxel. I got to get him logged into Trading Card Database. All right, Tom Gibson with another point. And that puts Tom at 12. And he now moves ahead of Harlan and Uncle Rich. And 1 point behind the Card Hobbyist. All righty. And go. All right, next up. George says, what happens if you hit 1 million on Name That Player? Wouldn't that be something? The count's at 999,999. It happens to be Name That Player Day, and we pull a 1994 Fleer, Steve Traxel. St. Louis Cardinals. George, this is your team. Even though you're 30 seconds behind, you might have a chance at this. Cardinals pitcher. This isn't a gimme. Not a gimme on this Cardinals pitcher. He did make his debut with the Cardinals. Not Bob Tewksbury. Oh, Tom Gibson. Tom Gibson is correct. Mike Perez. I believe Mike Perez did have a short stint with the Cubs. Let's see. Tom Gibson with another point. And now does that move him into a tie with Card Hobbyist? Oh, I got to edit. Okay. Tie with Card Hobbyist. 13 points. Come on. Come on. There we go. 13 points. And next up. Oh, this is actually a player that had a debate about recently. Had a debate about this guy recently in one of my chats. We were actually comparing this guy. Oh, you can probably get it. It is Alu. And let's see. I want to make sure to the YouTube. Card Hobbyist. Card Hobbyist was the first. Moises Alou. We were comparing who had the better Cubs career between Moises Alou and Giovanni Soto. My vote was Giovanni Soto. And a lot of that had to do just because Soto had a longer career with the Cubs. Card Hobbyist. Oh, he moves ahead of Terry McDaniel. Does that put you in the top 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts Card Hobbyist at 4th place. Oh, shit. What did I do? Oh. What did I do? Card Hobbyist. I think I deleted it. Didn't delete everything. Just deleted Card Hobbyist. Okay. So I got to type that back in. 14. Oh, shit. I put it in the wrong spot. Okay. Card Hobbyist. 14. And that puts you behind Scotty Dubs. Just a couple points behind Scotty Dubs. 4th place. Okay. Now we can save it. There we go. All right. Moises Alou. That was kind of a gimme, right? This is 1994 Fleer. Let's see. Alou would pee on his own hands. Now we go to San Diego. This is a tough one. San Diego Padres. Looks like he actually debuted with the Braves. He made his major league debut in 1992 with the Atlanta Braves. Oh, and here's another little tip, which we don't need because the flawed thinker knew. It was Melvin Nieves. He went to San Diego in the Fred McGriff trade. There you go. Melvin Nieves. How about that? Flawed thinker with a point. That moves him up to 27 points. Max, where are you at? Max was running away with this, and now the gap is closing. Nieves. All right, another Padre. A pitcher this time. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. Here we go. Padres pitcher. I don't think anybody's going to get this. Padres pitcher made his debut in 1993 for San Diego. Holy shit. Flawed thinker did get it. I was going to say he shares the name of a Hall of Fame pitcher. It's Pedro Martinez. But not that Pedro Martinez. Flawed thinker with another point. Let's see. Flawed thinker with 28. All right. Next up, we go to Cincinnati. You can guess this guy's a catcher. Cincinnati Reds catcher. I think you'll get this one. I think this one's fairly easy. Fairly easy. I don't think I would have got it, but I think compared to Padres pitcher Pedro Martinez and Melvin Nieves, I think you'll get this. Yes, Joe Oliver is correct. And it looks like Tom Gibson. Wait. Yes, Tom Gibson is first. Oh, wait. And Taubency's not even correct. Joe Oliver is correct. Taubency, also a Cincinnati Reds catcher. So Tom Gibson, it looks like we're down to 2 more cards. Tom Gibson with the point, which puts him at 14. And he now ties Card Hobbyist. All right, Tom Gibson moves 1 spot over ahead of Terry McDaniel. There we go. And voila. Here we go. All right. A lot of movement toward the top of the scoreboard. Next up, this is easy. Now, this is easy. Card Hobbyist says staying ahead of Tom is like swimming upstream. Here's an easy one. We just need fast fingers on this one. Card Hobbyist stayed upstream. Or whatever. John Kruk. John Kruk, Card Hobbyist with a point. Card Hobbyist. He's battling, but he's staying ahead. Can Tom Gibson tie Card Hobbyist before we leave today? We've got 1 card left. 1 card left. And it's a cool picture for the Atlanta Braves. George pisses upstream. The Atlanta Braves. I don't think you need any hints for this one. You don't. Card Hobbyist already got it. Jeff Blauser, who went on to play for the Cubs in 1998. Jeff Blauser, Card Hobbyist with another point, and he separates himself a little further from Tom Gibson. And let's see. Oh, and that puts Card Hobbyist in a tie with Scotty Dubs. Where's Scotty Dubs been? So after today, Max still holds the lead with 41 points. Flawed Thinker moves up to 28 points. Scotty Dubs hanging in there at 16, but tied now with Card Hobbyist. Tom Gibson has 14 ahead of Terry McDaniel's 13. Harlan and Uncle Rich each have 11. Philly Joe with 6. And then there's where we round out. PK Steinberg, Peter did get a point today. He now has 3. Flipping Sports Guy got a point. He's now at 2. And I think that was all for the points today. So thanks for tuning in. Great topic of discussion today, whether we agreed or disagreed on NIL and the transfer portal. So if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning. I don't have any card shows that I'm going to. I tossed around the idea of going to Oak Creek tomorrow, but I probably won't. Probably just hang out here, do some shipping, do some listing, do some shipping. About 300 cards added yesterday to the eBay store, so check that out. 99centcards.com. Link also in the description. 7 or more at regular price, 25% off at checkout. I will be set up at a couple 3 card shows this month. Next Saturday, I'll be in Janesville for the Janesville card show. December 16th, I'll be in St. Charles at the Kane County Fairgrounds. And then December 30th is the next Madison card show. So, and I'll be set up as a dealer at all 3 of those shows. So again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Have a great Friday. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning. Saturdays, it just kind of depends. We're all over the board on Saturdays and Sundays. I usually say approximately 8:30 Central Time. It's usually around then. So have a great day. Have a great weekend, and we'll chat again tomorrow.